Chapter 8 demonstrates how advertising strategies are used to develop creative briefs and message strategies. The chapter examines the characteristics of great campaigns, the nature of creativity, and the role of the agency creative team. Let's take a look at how research operates as the foundation for creative development and planning, and let's point out some common problems that can challenge the creative team. As a group, the people who work in the creative department are generally referred to as creatives, regardless of their specialty. The team's copywriter develops the verbal message, the copy or words within the ad. The copywriter typically works with an art director who's responsible for the nonverbal aspect of the message, the design, which demonstrates the look and feel of the ad. Together, they work under the supervision of a creative director, typically a former copywriter or art director, who is ultimately responsible for the creative product, the form the final ad takes. When a cannon goes boom, it gets your attention immediately. The same is true with an ad. It's the surprise element, the aha or the wow. But in advertising, it not only gets your attention, it captures your imagination. In this sense, it's like great art. It invites you to pause and think about the message. Negatively originated motives, such as problem avoidance or problem removal, provide the foundation for many great ads. These resonate with the audience by being highly informational. Informational ads resonate because the consumer perceives that the brand offers a credible solution to a significant problem. Other motives are positively originated, as when consumers seek pleasant experiences, intellectual stimulation, or social approval. Here, ads may achieve greatness by being transformational, using positive reinforcement to offer a reward. The second dimension of great advertising is strategic relevance. An ad may get you to think, but what does it get you to think about? While the text and the visual carry the ad message, behind the creative team's choice of tone, words, or ideas lies an advertising strategy. When the ad is completed, it must be relevant to the sponsor's strategy or it will fail, even if it resonates with the audience. Transformational ads are those that promise benefits that will reward consumers. To be sure that everyone has the same understanding of the task at hand, account managers, or in some larger agencies, account planners, develop a brief statement summarizing the agreed-upon objectives and strategies. This creative strategy serves as the creative team's guide for writing and producing the advertising. In some agencies, this document may be referred to as a creative brief, a working plan, a copy strategy, or copy platform. Regardless of the name, the creative strategy is a simple, written statement of the most important issues to consider in the development of an ad or campaign. It usually includes the following element: the basic problem the advertising must address, the advertising objective, a definition of the target audience, the key benefits to communicate in the benefit statement, and the support statement, and a bit on the brand's personality. The delivery of the creative strategy to the creative department concludes the process of developing an advertising strategy. It also marks the beginning of the next step, the creative process, in which the creative team develops a message strategy and begins the search for the big idea. After writing the first ad, the copywriter should review the creative strategy to confirm that the ad is on strategy. If it isn't, the team must start again. The message strategy is a simple description and explanation of an ad campaign's overall creative approach, the main idea, details about how the idea will be executed, and a rationale. The message strategy has three components. The verbal component is comprised of guidelines for what the advertising should say, considerations that affect the choice of words, and the relationship of the copy approach to the medium or media that will carry the message. The technical part is the preferred execution approach and mechanical outcome, including budget and scheduling limitations. Also, any mandatories. Mandatories are specific requirements for every ad, such as addresses, logos, and slogans. To create means to originate, to conceive a thing or idea that did not exist before. Typically, though, creativity involves combining two or more previously unconnected objects or ideas into something new. Advertising's responsibility to inform is greatly enhanced by creativity. Good creative work makes advertising more vivid, a quality that many researchers believe attracts attention, maintains interest, and stimulates consumers' thinking. Other creative techniques can also improve an ad's ability to inform. For example, visual cues such as lighting, pose of the model, setting, and clothing style can instantly signal viewers nonverbally whether a fashion ad reflects a romantic adventure or sporting event. Creativity helps advertising persuade. A creative story or persona can establish a unique identity for the product in the collective mindset, a key factor in helping a product beat the competition. To be persuasive, an ad's verbal message must be reinforced by the creative use of nonverbal message elements. Creativity helps advertising remind. Imagine using the same invitation to ask people to try your product again and again, year after year. Your invitation would become stale and tiresome. Only creativity can transform your boring reminders into interesting, entertaining advertisements. We are entertained daily by creative ads for soft drink, snacks, and cereals, whose primary mission is simply to remind us to indulge again. Creativity puts the boom in advertising. Successful comedy always has a boom factor, the punchline. It's that precise moment when the audience suddenly gets it and laughs out loud. Good punchlines come from taking an everyday situation, looking at it creatively, adding a bit of exaggeration, and then delivering it as unique. Great advertising often does the same thing. In advertising, though, the boom doesn't always have to be funny. It may come from the sudden understanding of an unexpected double meaning, as in the case of Target ads, or from the gentle emotional tug of a Hallmark Cards commercial, or from the unpredictability of an Old Spice ad. In a business-to-business situation, it may come from the sudden recognition of how a new high-tech product can improve workplace productivity. In short, the boom factor may come from many sources, but it always requires creativity. People whose preferred style of thinking is fact-based tend to fragment concepts into components and to analyze situations to discover the one best solution. Clients who prefer a fact-based style often seek agencies that produce practical, hard-edged work, characterized by simple, straightforward layouts, rational appeals, and lots of data. A fact-based client may even find a value-based campaign to be unsettling. In contrast, value-based thinkers make decisions based on intuition, values, and moral codes. They are better able to embrace change, conflict, and paradox. This style fundamentally relies on melding concepts together. If the creative team prefers a value-based thinking style, it tends to produce ads such as those in the UPS store and Target campaigns, soft, subtle, intuitive, and metaphorical. Let's look at some of the roles of art director and copywriter in the creative process. The explorer searches for new information, paying attention to unusual patterns. The artist experiments and plays with a variety of approaches, looking for an original idea. The judge evaluates the results of experimentation and decides which approach is most practical. And the warrior overcomes excuses, idea killers, setbacks, and obstacles to bring a creative concept to realization. The creative pyramid is a model that can guide the creative team as it converts the advertising strategy and the big idea into the actual physical ad or commercial. The cognitive theory of how people learn new information uses a simple 5-step structure. The purpose of much advertising copy and design is to either persuade prospective customers to take some action to satisfy a need or want, or to remind them to take the action again. For an ad or commercial to be effective, it must break through consumers' physiological screens to create the kind of attention that leads to perception. Attention, therefore, is the first objective of any ad and the foundation of the creative pyramid. The second step in the creative pyramid, interest, is also extremely important. It carries the prospective customer, now paying attention, to the body of the ad. The ad must keep the prospect excited or involved as the information becomes more detailed. The third step in the creative pyramid is to establish credibility for the product or service. Customers are sophisticated and skeptical. They want claims to be supported by facts. Comparison ads can build credibility, but they must be relevant to customers' needs and fair. In the desire step, the writer encourages prospects to imagine themselves enjoying the benefits of the product or service. The final step up the creative pyramid is action. I would call this the call to action. The goal here is to motivate people to do something. Send in a coupon, call the number on the screen, visit the store, or at least to agree with the advertiser.